This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to Wanna Bet on Detroit Sports Podcast Network. I am your host, Shea Norling, as always. Sorry I missed you last week, and sorry I missed you Monday on the mashup. I was under the weather last week, could not get off the pot. Spent most of the day on Tuesday and Wednesday just praying to the porcelain gods. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get an episode off, which was kind of sad because I had plans for an Indianapolis 500 preview. I was down in Indy for the race. It was an excellent race. The weather, which looked like it was going to be horrible, ended up being just incredible. Like 80 degrees, sunny. It was amazing. I got really burnt. Other than that, I was sad I wasn't able to bring you that preview, and I have a little bit of a recap from it today because it's part of my bad bet. Of course, that was a bad bet, but this program is going to be maybe just slightly abbreviated. I have good bet, bad bet. I have NBA Finals preview, which will also factor into my good bet because, man, oh man, the underdog came out and did it. If you had gotten them ahead of the series, the Raptors were, I believe, like a plus 250. That would be, 250 to 1. So it was really bet 100, win 250. And it was a great series by Kawhi Leonard. It was a great series by everyone on the Raptors except for Danny Green, essentially. And I'll tell you, if they want to beat the Warriors, they're going to need some Danny Green. But I have a little bit of a finals preview, a little bit of a way that I'm going to be betting it, including finals MVP odds, if you're interested in that. Otherwise, just good bet, bad bet. But remember, Wanna Bet is sponsored by MyBookie. Our friends over at mybookie.ag are your friends too. If you want to use them to bet the NBA Finals, they have all of the futures, including the winners, including the NBA Finals MVP awards, any futures odds that you could bet. If you want to get in on the action of NBA free agency, some of that is in there as well. Maybe I'll touch on that today too. Anything that you want to bet on in the world of sports, the Stanley Cup, the Belmont Stakes, any of the upcoming golf tournaments, the Detroit Grand Prix, whatever it might be, you can bet it at mybookie.ag, and we are going to give you a 50% bonus on your sign-up. When you deposit, we will give you 50% of your deposit. If you deposit $100, we're giving you 50. $1,000, we're giving you 500. $2,000, we'll give you $1,000 for free. That's the limit, though. We are depositing 50% bonuses up to $1,000. All you have to do is go to mybookie.ag, sign up using promo code DSP, and you will be all set to start playing with a 50% sign-up bonus. So get over to mybookie.ag, help them out, help yourself out. You 48-hour payout times. You play, you win, you get paid only at mybookie.ag when you use promo code DSP. All right, so let's get started with good bet, bad bet. That's where I want to start. The good bet, obviously, the Toronto Raptors to take down the overall number one seed with the best record in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. They just, after going down 2-0, I had a feeling that the Bucks were just stomping to the finals, and it turns out that instead, Kawhi Leonard is the greatest Raptor of all time. I mean, that's just it. Vince Carter, forget it. DeMar DeRozan, forget it. Kawhi Leonard might play one season in Toronto. I think if he wins this finals, he's playing one season. I think if he loses this finals, it gets a little more interesting. But he might play one season in Toronto, and he might get a statue anyway, because he took down the Bucks, and he took this team to a place where it had never been before. And that city's going to love him forever, no matter what he does. What a run in the playoffs by Kawhi Leonard. What a run by the Raptors. What a job by Kyle Lowry to put to rest the notion that he can't play in the playoffs by having the best month of May he's ever had. He was incredible in this series. He was incredible in Game 6, taking charges all over the floor, forcing the officials to make calls, and he made the Toronto Raptors the good bet of the week. Being a prohibitive underdog against Milwaukee made it look tough. They are also going to be an underdog against the Warriors, but I'll tell you, it looks a whole lot less prohibitive now than it did just a couple of days ago. And I'm really excited about this final series. And so I guess we'll get into the finals preview as soon as I get over my bad bet. My bad bet was my card You guys might be lucky that I didn't give you an Indianapolis 500 preview because the card I gave ended up paying out $0. I had Alexander Rossi to win. He finished in second. I had Will Power to win. He finished in fifth, I believe. I had Ed Carpenter to win, and he finished in sixth. I also had Ed Carpenter to place in the top three. He finished in sixth. I had Joseph Newgarden to finish in the top three. He finished in fourth. Everything that I put came so close to being true, but ended up just not working out in the end. Rossi to win hurt me the most. I think it was lap 198. He took the lead, and then lap 199, he ended up getting passed again. And then on the final lap, he had a pass. He got blocked. It didn't work out. And he came in second to Simon Pagenaud, who was nowhere on my card. But what a story he is, because I won't get an opportunity to talk too much about this in the mashup, so I'm going to do it now. What a story Pagenaud was, because early in the year, he was rumored to be, they were searching for a replacement. He's on Team Penske, and they were searching for someone to replace him. And the replacement was rumored to be Alexander Rossi, who finished second to him in the Indy 500. The other thing that's really funny about it is he actually did what Will Power did a year ago for Team Penske and swept the month of May. After starting the month, being on the outside, being potentially removed from Team Penske, he sweeps the month of May, one of the rare feats in auto racing, and he's right back up there with the elites now, and the best in the racing community. So while it was my bad bet, it was a really cool story. It was a great race to be at. They red flagged with 20 laps to go because of an accident. So the final 20 laps were an absolute mad dash to the finish. It was an electric atmosphere, really cool event. I'll be going back next year. I might try to make it a yearly event because I'm not a huge racing guy, but man, that's fun when you're sitting in the stands watching these things, these rocket ships go by you at 230, 240 miles an hour. It's incredible watching these Indy cars and watching these drivers and what they're able to do. You know what else is incredible, though? Watching the Golden State Warriors. And without Kevin Durant, who may be out games 1, 2, and 3, maybe just games 1 and 2, I have a hard time believing that Kevin Durant's going to miss more than one game in a final series. But even without him, they swept the Portland Trail Blazers. And they are making a hell of a case to go out and win a fourth straight NBA championship. I mean, it's incredible when you think about, not a fourth straight, a third consecutive, fourth in 5 years. The Warriors are going to be the favorites for certain in this series, as they should be, because they are just one of the better teams, and they are the best of all time, really. They're probably the best team of all time. But they're going up against a Kawhi Leonard who, the last time he faced this team, he was on the Spurs. He was absolutely annihilating them offensively and defensively. And so I wonder, is this the most feared matchup that maybe they had, where they didn't want to see Kawhi? Because he is so good defensively, and he's going to allow matchups that might let Danny Green play on Steph Curry, which is going to be a tough job for Steph Curry, or allowing, Kawhi maybe bears the brunt on Klay Thompson as long as Kevin Durant stays out. But then again, when Kevin Durant comes in, Kawhi takes Kevin Durant. Danny Green takes Klay Thompson, and it's still tough waters for both KD and Klay Thompson. So then you have to go through Steph Curry, who has never won an NBA Finals MVP, but is currently the favorite. And that's where I want to start this. Because while I will be betting the Raptors to win, it's a bet I'm not super confident in, and it's a bet that I will likely hedge should the Warriors start to come out and look really good and really just cement themselves as the better team in this series. There's potential that they sweep. I think there's potential the Raptors win in 6. That's kind of what I'm picking, is Raptors in 6 games. I think this is going to be a really good series overall, and I'm excited for it to tip off on Thursday. Again, I hate the NBA schedule. I know I've said it on here before. It's so bad. Playing a game Thursday, playing a game Sunday, and then playing a game Wednesday. What in the world are we doing? Skipping. It's basketball. What do we need to take Friday and Saturday off for? And then what do we need to take Monday and Tuesday off for? Just play every other day. I'm so tired of the NBA schedule and the way that they do the finals. Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday is ridiculous. You should not be playing game 4 11 days after you play game 1. Makes no sense. I digress. One thing we are certainly not going to see in this series is LeBron James. For the first time in 8 years, there is no chance that LeBron James can win the NBA Finals MVP. So I will give you the MVP odds as they stand. Stephen Curry at minus 140. You can't even get even money on him, which makes him a really, really good hedge bet. I will explain. Minus 140 means you got to bet 100, 200. Excuse me. It means you have to bet $200 to win $140. Kawhi Leonard, you have to bet $140 to win 100. Excuse me. Kawhi Leonard at plus 250, 2.5 to 1. Draymond Green plus 1,000. He's at 10 to 1. Kevin Durant 20 to 1. Klay Thompson 14 to 1. Pascal Siakam 40 to 1. Kyle Lowry 40 to 1. Andre Iguodala 200 to 1. Marc Gasol 100 to 1. Fred VanVleet 300 to 1. Serge Ibaka 300 to 1. And the field is at 100 to 1. So those are the odds. So let's start with this. If we're going to do 100 units, and whatever that means to you is whatever that means to you. If it's $1, it's $1. If it's $100, it's $100. If it's $1,000, it's $1,000. So let's do it this way. We're doing 100 units, and I'll just, for the sake of easy math, make it $100. If you put $75 on Curry and he's at minus 140, you're going to win $54. If you put 25 on Leonard, the two favorites, Curry and Kawhi, you put 75 on Curry, you win 54. You put 25 on Kawhi, you win 63. You can effectively hedge if you just, the Warriors win, Curry wins. If the Raptors win, Leonard wins. So if you're in on the Raptors to win the series, you might as well take Leonard as the largest stake, which just means if you're going to put money down, put the 75 on Leonard. Take him as the longest stake, and then take the Raptors long shots. There's no way it makes sense that you should be betting Curry and Leonard together, because it's just not a smart bet. You would have to bet 75 on Steph to put you ahead, assuming you lose on Leonard. But you're not going to win much. And so it doesn't make sense from a betting standpoint. You come up like $5, if that. So effectively, you're leveraging two favorites as hedges against long shots if you do what I'm planning on doing, which is, being that I'm in on the Raptors, I'm going to take Kawhi with a large enough to win, and then I'm going to put the long shots in as at lower stakes, but with way higher payouts. So I'll have a better chance to win. And this is what I would recommend. Anyone who's planning on betting this series, bet the series however you want. If you bet Golden State, do what I'm about to tell you to do for the Finals MVP. It'll basically guarantee you win money as long as Golden State wins. That's the key factor here. Because it's just not going to be a year where the losing team ends up with the MVP. LeBron had mythical numbers in the 2014-15 finals, and the guy defending him got the MVP. So this is what I would do if you're planning on riding the Warriors. The fact that Kevin Durant is going to probably miss game 1, is definitely going to miss game 1, might miss game 2, might miss game 3. Makes him a tough bet for MVP. There's a chance, but it would require the Warriors to be down 0-2 going into Game 3. Kevin Durant comes back, and then they win 4-2 off the back of outstanding play. I could see it happening then. It's unlikely that they will give it to him if he misses 40% of the series, just in my opinion. So if you're going with the Warriors and you're going to bet 100 units, put 70 units on Steph. It'll make 50 units won, puts your total up to 120. If you put then 20 on Draymond Green at 10 to 1 odds, that's going to make it $200 won on there, plus 220. If you put 10 then on Klay at 14 to 1, it's making $140 won, total's 150. So you will always win money no matter what, because you made sure that you're $10 ahead, that you're $20 ahead, on the total bet. Right, you're betting $100. Your win total on Curry is $120. So if your long shots don't win and Curry does, you're still getting $20 on your bet. Then you have the two long shots. If Draymond ends up going off defensively, does one of those things like Andre Iguodala did to LeBron. If Draymond checks Kawhi for the majority of the series and just takes him out of the series while playing really good offensively, and Curry has a typical cold finals stretch. 4 straight finals Steph Curry has been in. 4 straight finals he has not been the finals MVP. While he's the favorite, I think that does play a factor into this. Maybe it's time that he's just hungry and he wants it. It's the last thing that he has to go and get. It's the only thing he hasn't accomplished, right? He's first team All-NBA more than once, 2-time MVP, 3-time NBA champion, infinite time All-Star. He's done everything except finals MVP and all defensive, but he's never going to get that anyway. So maybe this is the year where he just is so hungry that he goes out, plays out of his mind, and wins all defensive, or wins NBA MVP, NBA Finals MVP. Maybe Draymond Green has the Andre Iguodala year, where I think at 10-1, he's a super, super valuable get. And that's why I would throw the higher long shot stake on him, because I think he can have that lockdown defensive series. I think he can attack those attack some of those gaps. I think that he can have a pretty good offensive series. Klay Thompson scares me just because defensively he's going to get a healthy amount of Kawhi Leonard, and he's also going to get Danny Green, two guys who are, I mean, Kawhi Leonard's a defensive player of the year caliber player every single year. Danny Green is an all-NBA defensive team caliber player every single year. And so Klay is going to have a clamp on him. But again, like, Klay doesn't need a whole lot of room to shoot. And if he gets hot, it's not going to matter who's guarding him. So the Klay bet, that's why it's got the shortest stake, because you're just betting on him getting hot. And that's not necessarily a great idea from a betting standpoint, but it could happen. The other way you want to go, if you bet the Raptors, you would put 50 units on Kawhi at 2.5 to 1. It would win you 125. You would go all the way up to 175 units plus 75. This is why I think betting, if the Raptors win, obviously the payout's better. This is my favorite grouping. Kawhi 50, bet 50 at plus 250. Then you put Pascal Siakam in as a long shot at 40 to 1, bet 25 on him. You would win 1,000. It would put you at a total of 1,025 plus 925. Kyle Lowry is the same odds. You're going to put 25 on him as well. Basically, what this is doing is the same thing the Curry thing did. If the Raptors win and Kawhi wins MVP, which is the most likely situation should the Raptors win, you're going to win $75. Should Siakam or Kyle Lowry have an incredible series and really go out of their minds, you only bet 25 and you are going to win $925. So this one to me is just, you have two long shot ideas in Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam, and you're hedging them with Kawhi Leonard, who will make sure that you win money regardless. I think it's a great bet. I think it's a really, really good bet. And then number 3 is, should Kevin Durant come back and play, and you're interested in playing him. There's a couple ways we can do this. One is where we can pit him against Kawhi Leonard. Because Kevin Durant's odds are so low because of his injury, he's at 20 to 1. Now, keep in mind, he's won the past 2 of these awards. He's at 20 to 1. If he comes back and rescues his team, keep in mind, too, Toronto will be favored in the first 2 games. They're at home. Golden State is going into Game 1 and Game 2 as a road underdog. They're +1 in Game 1 on Thursday. If you take Kevin Durant for $50 at plus 2,000, you would win 1,050 units. You come up $950. Hedge it against Kawhi Leonard, the same bet we put in the other package. 50 units at plus 250, 125-1, you're up $75. So the worst thing that happens, should Kawhi win, you're up 75. If Kevin Durant wins, you're up $950. The other way to go, if you are dead set, look, the Warriors are winning this thing. 70 on Steph makes sure that you win. It puts you at plus 20. Then put 30 on Kevin Durant, and it will allow you plus $530 should it be that Kevin Durant comes back and wins. This is if you're less interested in the Draymond Green, Klay Thompson options. I think Klay is a slightly better bet than Kevin Durant, but I think he's overvalued in this. That's where Draymond and Kevin Durant are almost even to me, and I think Steph is severely overvalued. I think he's going to be, like, he's visibly going to be the best player on the floor going into the series. I have a feeling Kawhi is going to actually be the best player on the floor. And then plan 4 is if you just want to go fucking crazy. And it's, you bet Kevin Durant $50, you bet Pascal Siakam $30, and you bet the field $20. I would never recommend doing this because you're basically just lighting $100 on fire. But it gives you an opportunity. If Kevin Durant wins at 50, plus 950. If Pascal Siakam wins at 30, plus 1130. If the field wins at 20, you're up $1,920. All you need to happen there is if the Warriors lose game 1 without Durant, comes back for game 2 and the Warriors win, and from there you have just an insane Pascal Siakam run, then you're great. The field being such a long shot basically boils down to what can OG Anunoby do? And that's going to be coming back from, the appendicitis thing. And so that's where with the field, it's tough because you're knocking out so many guys who probably could win it, and the Warriors bench, there's no shot. So with the field, you're boiling that thing down to OG Anunoby. You're boiling that thing down to, Serge Ibaka's even listed. So the field's rough for me. Decent as a long shot, but rough. Again, my favorite of these bets is the second package. Kawhi Leonard at 50, Pascal Siakam at 25, and Kyle Lowry at 25. That's probably the way I'm going to bet this thing. Game 1, 100%, I'm taking Toronto, laying a point. Now, here's the other issue, is when to bet against Golden State. Because there's a really, really crazy stat. If the public money is on the Warriors, they are 227, 222, and 7. 50.6% against the spread. They're also losing money. On $100 bettors, the Warriors have lost $642 against the spread in those games when they have the majority of the tickets. While it's not entirely safe to bet against them, if they have the majority of the bet, you're better off betting against them than when they have the minority of the bet. In Game 1, 80% of the bets are coming on the Warriors to cover +1. I am taking the Raptors -1 because of this trend. And it may not mean anything, but I just feel like the Raptors being at home, the first time they've ever been to a finals, that crowd is going to be wild. Scotiabank will be absolutely rocking. The roof might cave in. I would look to the Raptors to cover that for certain. The other issue, if public money ends up coming on the Raptors, what you might want to do, they've only played 48 games in the past 5 seasons, 18 games in the playoffs, with public money going on the opposite team. When that happens, they have never lost straight up. 18-0 in the playoffs when they get the minority of the betting money. 15-3 against the spread. So if you hear a little birdie tell you in Game 2 or Game 3 that, hey, the public is way in on the Raptors, 80% of the money is going to Toronto, 60% of the money is going to Toronto, Game 2, get in on this action, go the other way. If the Raptors start getting the big public money, fade them. If the Warriors start getting the big public money, fade them on the spread. Maybe take them straight up if you're interested in that. But if they start getting big public money, I would fade them on the spread. And that's what I'm doing in Game 1. Because they have 80% of the public money, I'm fading them on the spread. I have a feeling about the Raptors. I have a feeling about Kawhi Leonard. So again, Finals MVP, I think likely is Kawhi, but if you want to throw some long shots out there, Kyle Lowry's a great one. Pascal Siakam's a great one. They both pay out really large sums. And the worst case, if the Raptors win and Kawhi wins MVP, is you win $75. Doesn't hurt. It's $75 you didn't have before. All right, that's it for Wanna Bet. I will see you next week with more information because, Game 3 is going to be Wednesday night. So I'll be here with feedback from the first 2 fucking games of this series. How ridiculous is this schedule? Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.